Welcome back to Godfall. In this video, we are going through all of the endgame activities in the Challenger edition of the game. And by the end of this video, you'll know exactly what is, in the endgame. What is the endgame in Godfall Challenger edition? I'm going to explain it to the best of my ability. There might be a couple of things here and there that I miss out. So, the moment you load up the Challenger edition, you're going to set up your character to be level 50, and then you're wondering, what is there? What is the end game? I'm going to be doing a separate video on how to progress in the end game. So the end game is split up into 3 different modes. You have Dreamstones, Lightbringer, and then you have the Tower of Trials. The Tower of Trials has 2 variations. You have the Standard, then you have Ascended. Dreamstones has 2. You have Standard, and then you have Volatile. And then there are 4 different variants to Lightbringer. You have Earth, Air, Water, and Fire. And I don't know if it's me being blind, but I've only ever seen 3 of them. The 4th one, I don't actually know if it does exist, or if you need an expansion, or something like that. So, we'll start off with the Tower of Trials. In the standard variant of this game mode, you will progress through 10 stages, and then I'm not entirely sure how many there are altogether in Ascended, but I've seen gameplay footage of Trial 20. I'm just not sure if it does finish there or not. So as you begin a Tower of Trials, you go in and you start off the trial. You are on what I'm going to call an elevator. It's basically this round platform that's going to be going upwards as you're fighting enemies. And you are on a timer with these enemies. The faster you take them down and clear that part of the trial, the more keys you get, and the keys are going to be really, really important. Every now and then, once you have completed that timed part of the trial, you're going to have a selection of doors you can choose from. Each one will have something different, so you might have a might boon, you could have a vitality boon, you could have a spirit boon. You could also have something like a longsword, a warhammer, you could get a charm, a trinket, an augment. There are loads of different things you can get, and they all have different rarities as well. So you'll have green, blue, purple, you can even get legendary doors, and once you've chosen your door, you go through outside to this arena, and this is the part where you need to do an actual trial. So you will have to clear enemies, and then after completion, as long as you don't die, you will be rewarded with a boon, weapon, whatever it is that you chose on the door that you went through. However, that's where the keys come in, because after the boons, and you start getting offered weapons and things, you will have to open chests. The green chests are completely free. The blue chests will cost you 5 keys. The purples will cost you 7. And the legendary chests will cost you 10 keys. You can, however, open up a purple chest and get a legendary. I'm not sure if you can get legendaries from blue chests, but this is going to be the best way to get loot out of this game mode. Once you obtain some loot, you put it on your character, you build up your character, you make them stronger, the tower is going to become easier. However, you then have Ascended Tower of Trials. This is exactly the same thing, besides it's going to be a lot more difficult. Not only is it going to be more difficult, it's also more expensive to get into. When I say expensive, I'm talking in-game currency. There's no real money included in this. The standard tower will cost you 5 coins of valor. That's going to be your entry fee. And the Ascended Tower of Trials will cost you 20. Your loot is going to be much better by playing the Ascended Tower of Trials. And a sneaky little tip I can give you is if you do play Ascended, go into the matchmaking, because sometimes it can still put you in solo if there's no one looking for a game. I mean, you will have to wait 3 minutes. That's the timer they've put on it for either players to join or for you to jump into the game. And if you set up the Ascended Tower of Trials through matchmaking, you don't have to pay any coins of valor. And for those of you that are wondering how you get coins of valor, that's where the dreamstones come into it. As I said, I'm not going to be full on in depth with this stuff because I've got another video planned for how to progress in the end game where we'll go into full depth. And another thing, just one more thing to point out about the towers before we move on to the dreamstones, and that is the fact, as well as rewards, there are also basically some curses. You get boons which are going to help you out, and then you get banes which are going to be against you. However, the good thing about the Banes, and the first one you get in the standard tower, and the only one you actually get in the standard tower, is, I believe, after you complete Trial 5. It's halfway in, but I can't remember if it's when you start 5, so when you complete 4, or if it's when you've completed 5. But you'll get a Bane, and it will give you a different percentage of increasing your loot rewards, so you'll get like 5% better chance of loot, or 10% better. But the higher that percentage to increase your loot, the harder it's going to be. Some of the modifiers can be incredibly difficult to work around, so that's why you kind of need to balance the risk versus the reward. But then, moving into dreamstones. At first glance, this just looks like a bunch of objectives. But you will have standard and you will have volatile. What you need to do is start off a dreamstone, and then this is essentially hunts. What you're going to do is select one, and you're going to jump into a hunt. You're going to be awarded coins of valor. You're going to have to just go through this little arena, find the boss. There's a couple of side objectives you can do to help you out with this as well. And then you get to the boss, you take the boss down, you grab some cool loot, and then you head back to the menu, and you go through different rounds. You need to try and get through as many rounds as you possibly can, because the dreamstone you chose will keep upgrading as you're progressing through these rounds. So what you need to do is use this to your advantage. You need to try and find a level where you're kind of feeling balanced. Don't push yourself too much. I'm not entirely sure what happens if you fail one of these or anything. I still need to play a lot more of this game. I'm only just getting into it. I'm having a lot of fun playing. I do feel it's going to get repetitive fairly quick, but I'm one of those characters that's willing to grind to get themselves a good build on a game like this, so you can expect a lot more content for it. And then what we're going to do, just to wrap this one up, is talk about Lightbringer, and this is my most hated mode, because it feels as though it's a lot tougher than even Ascended Tower of Trials. I mean, it all depends on your build. It could become a lot easier. It was my first time playing it. There's different scenarios and stuff. Like, basically, you go into this sort of, I'm not going to say it's an arena, it's kind of like a level. So you're going to go in, you're going to have these beacons that are placed around the area, and you need to melee them a few times to get them to light up. You will have a couple of chests that you can go and explore and find, but basically, in Lightbringer, darkness is taking over, and the higher your darkness, the quicker your health drains, and it will eventually kill you off. In all of these modes, you do get checkpoints, so don't worry about dying your first time. You do have a chance to get used to it. But when you go to a beacon, you melee it a few times, you light the place up, it's going to bring down your darkness meter. You'll see that on the bottom left corner of the screen. And what you need to do is fight your way through the area, keep taking down groups and groups of enemies, try and find your chests, and then you come to this area where you have a lot of enemies that spawn in. You get objectives, like I had one, defeat 25 enemies. And once you've done that, you can basically seal it off so the enemies can't keep spawning. And then what I had to do after that was get this like orb of light thing. I had to escort it back to, I think it was Sanctum. It was basically the beginning of the area. And the enemies can come and try and take control of it. However, I managed to get it back, and then I ran back through, and I went to like the boss area again. And yeah, I kind of wiped, so I haven't played too much of it. But that is the 3 endgame modes in Godfall Challenger Edition. Tower of Trials, then you've got a variation being Ascended, Dreamstones, and then you have Lightbringer, which is split into 4, Earth, Air, Water and Fire. So as I said, not a lot of depth, because I'm going to be going through how to progress in the endgame to get yourself a really good build. And on that note, we're going to leave the video there. Let me know your thoughts and stuff in the comments, and I will see you in the next one. I hope you guys enjoyed it.